So I have a question because I know we've in our family we've had both burials and cremations, and typically with cremations, how often do people actually keep the ashes in an urn? How often do they scatter them?
Well, well, I met a family this morning, and Dad has just died, and Mom died quite a number of years ago. We looked after her, and so the kid said to me, "Well, not sure what we're going to do about an urn." And I said, "Well, what are you thinking of doing with the remains?" He said, "Well, we're going to scatter them at some point in time, but I'm probably going to end up keeping them for a while, so I probably want something more than just a cardboard box." And anyway, he said, "We've still got Mom's. She's in the closet, so we'll have to do something with her at the same time we do with Dad." So I guess the answer to your question is people are all different. They're going to do, different things. But there's a lot of people that have them sitting in their closets and trying to figure out when and what to do with them.
Right. So you said, so if we were scattering them, would you recommend just keep taking them in the cardboard box then, as opposed to going and spending the money on an urn?
Yes and no. It depends on how you're envisioning that playing out. For example, a friend of mine who is a mariner by trade and has been for quite a number of years, everybody and his dog has petitioned him over the years to scatter ashes at sea for them. And he's done so. Anyway, his wife passed away and he came to see me. And when I had asked him what he was going to do with the remains, he said he was going to scatter them at sea. And so I pointed out something that's called a journey envelope to him, and I said, "You may want to consider this. It's biodegradable and it's a pretty slick operation." So at the end of the arrangement, he said, "You know what?" He said, "I think I'm going to take one of those." So he took one, and a couple of weeks later, I was talking to him and asked him how things went with scattering his wife. And he said, "That is the best thing that I've ever seen," he said. "It was slick as you said."
What is it?
It's a biodegradable envelope, and believe it or not, it comes from New Mexico. How much water they got there, I don't know. But anyway, it comes from New Mexico, Albuquerque, New Mexico. And what you do is you take the cremains and you put it in a biodegradable bag, and the bag goes inside of an envelope. And the envelope you'd put on the water, and it would float for 3-4 minutes, and then it tips and it sinks. And it releases the cremains below the water line. So people that have scattered at sea can tell you some horrendous stories about how the wind shifts and you're wearing granny and you're breathing granny, and the boat you're washing for the next week because granny's all over it. And, so there's some real horror stories. But anyway, he said it was the best thing that he'd ever come across. So to answer your question, yes and no. Again, for example, if you're doing a scattering, for example, with a lot of family around, a lot of kids around, maybe you'd want to consider having a tube, and the tube is a scattering tube, and it just makes the process look a whole lot more dignified and classier than just the cardboard box with a plastic bag. So if you're all by yourself and then you don't have to worry about that sort of stuff, then yeah, cardboard's fine. But in life, I think we should try and ask ourselves why we're doing